Let's talk about relational databases, or RDMSs. A relational database is essentially a collection of related data sets. These collections are represented as tables, columns, and rows. Think of a big-ass Excel spreadsheet with rows and columns. That's a database table. Common types of relational database engines are MySQL, Postgres, Microsoft SQL Server, SQLite, MariaDB. There's a lot, and they all have their own special use cases, but at a high level, they do the same thing. They maintain a contractual relationship between those data sets or tables. An example would be an NFL database, and you may have a table called teams, and it would have a team ID and a team name. Then you may have another table called players, and you got a player ID, a team ID, and a name. Now you may ask, what's the team ID for? It's so that we can create a relationship between teams and players. This is how we can tell what player is on what team by that team ID. These relational columns are called foreign keys. So team ID is a foreign key. And then for fun, you can have a stats table with a stat ID, stat type, player ID, and a value. So stat type could be rushing yards, passing yards. The player ID would relate to players so that we know which player that stat belongs to. And then the value would be, 200 rushing yards. That'd be nice. So in this example, player ID would also be a foreign key. Now this is essentially what we call a database schema. And then we use a language called SQL, or structured query language, to ask our database questions. For example, what teams are there? What players are on those teams? And what are those stats for those players? All possible because of the relationships we've created between these database columns with foreign keys. So let me know if this video was helpful for you in understanding relational database systems. And if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments. Next video, I'll likely be talking more about SQL and data column types.